rain had already stopped dripping by the time Claire Morgan stepped off the bus and onto Elm Street, but the air remained sharp with cold, stiff with the scent of wet asphalt. She pulled her coat closer and looked down the long, narrow lane where the streetlights flickered with an unnatural rhythm. Elm Street had never been the friendliest place, but tonight it felt strangely hollow, like the whole road was holding its breath. Claire hadn't intended to walk home this late, but her shift at the diner had stretched longer than expected. Everyone else had called for rides, but she brushed off the idea. She had walked this road hundreds of times. She knew every crack, every half-broken lamp, every rusted mailbox. And yet, there was something different tonight, a kind of weight in the air she couldn't name. The first street light buzzed loudly as she passed beneath it. The bulb flared white, then dimmed to a dull orange glow that barely lit the sidewalk. Claire frowned. "Great," she muttered. "Another one dying." But as she moved to the next, it too flickered in the same rhythm. 3 quick flashes, 1 long fade. She paused. That wasn't a bulb dying. That was deliberate. The wind pushed behind her, urging her forward. So she continued, reluctant but aware. More lights followed the same pattern. One by one, they dimmed the moment she stepped under them, leaving her walking through a quiet, shuddering path of failing illumination. Halfway down the street, she heard the first sound. A soft clicking. Not footsteps. Not an animal. More like something tapping lightly against metal. Slow, spaced out, patient. Claire turned sharply, scanning the shadows. Nothing moved. The houses stood stiff and empty like cardboard cutouts. The clicking came again. This time closer. "Hello," she called out, instantly regretting it. Her voice sounded too loud, too alone. No reply. Only the low hum of the dying lamps. Claire quickened her steps. She could feel her heartbeat rising to meet the quickening pulse of the lights above her. The strange clicking followed, keeping pace but never revealing itself. By the time she reached the midpoint of the street, every lamp behind her had gone out completely. Only the ones ahead still glowed, trembling, as if struggling to stay awake. Her breath caught when she noticed the old Miller house. It stood at the corner, abandoned for years, its windows boarded, its yard filled with overgrown weeds. Yet now, one window glowed faintly from inside, like a candle burning low. That was impossible. The house had no power. Claire slowed down. The clicking stopped. For the first time since stepping onto Elm Street, there was true silence. And then the window light flickered in the exact rhythm of the streetlights. 3 quick flashes. 1 long fade. Her stomach tightened. "Nope," she whispered. "Not stopping. Not tonight." She hurried past the house, resisting the urge to look back. But just as she reached the next streetlight, it snapped out with a sharp pop, sinking her into darkness. She froze. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But she couldn't move. A soft breath, cold, damp, close, passed across the back of her neck. Claire spun, but the darkness behind her was thick and impenetrable. She backed toward the next light, hoping desperately it wouldn't flicker out like the last. "Please don't," she whispered. It stayed lit, barely. She stepped into its weak glow, only for the bulb to flicker violently, as though something unseen pressed against it, threatening to burst through. The clicking returned, faster now, circling her, echoing from every direction. Claire bolted. She sprinted down Elm Street, the lamps snuffing out one after another, behind her like dominoes collapsing. Her shoes slapped against the pavement, matching the rapid, frantic rhythm of the sound chasing her. When she reached the final stretch of road, she saw something that made her chest tighten. Only one light remained on. The very last street light at the end of Elm Street, burning with a steady, unwavering glow. The last light. Everyone in the neighborhood knew the superstitions. Children whispered about it, daring each other to approach it at night. Adults ignored the stories, but never walked near it after sunset. Some said it never turned off, not for power outages, not for storms. Others said it turned off only when someone was about to die. Claire had always dismissed the legends. Tonight, the light felt like the only safe place left. She ran toward it, and the darkness chased her like a tide swallowing the shore. The clicking became faster, sharper, frantic. The air grew colder, squeezing her lungs as though something pressed against her chest. She stumbled forward and crossed into the light circle. Instantly, the pressure eased, the clicking stopped, and the street fell unnaturally silent. The darkness beyond the light remained still, too still. Claire backed up until she stood directly under the lamp. Her breath came in short, trembling bursts. For a moment, nothing happened. And then she heard a voice. Soft. Female. Whispering from the edge of the darkness. Don't step out. Claire's heart hammered. Who's there? The whisper came again. The dark is hungry. Stay in the light. A shape formed just outside the glow. She couldn't see its face, only the faint outline of a woman's figure. Hair long. Head tilted. Claire squinted, but the shadows clung to the figure like a second skin, preventing any detail from emerging. Are you human? Claire asked shakily. The figure did not move. I stayed in the light too, it whispered. But when it goes out, it takes you. Claire swallowed. What takes you? The whisper didn't answer. Instead, the streetlight above Claire gave a low, warning buzz. No, not now. The bulb flickered once. The figure in the darkness took a slow step forward. Claire felt panic seize her spine. The light flickered again. Don't let it go out, the whisper urged, sounding suddenly urgent. It's the only thing it can't touch. The third flicker came harder, stretching longer. The bulb dimmed until Claire could barely see her own hands. She scrambled backward, reaching up to grab the pole, as if holding it could somehow keep the light alive. Please, please don't die. The bulb steadied. The figure vanished. The street fell dead quiet again. But this time, Claire sensed something far worse had taken its place. She could feel it watching her from every inch of the darkness, studying, waiting, patient. The cold began to creep in again. She knew she couldn't stay like this until sunrise. The light was failing, and the thing in the dark was only growing hungrier. Claire took out her phone. No signal. No battery. Useless. She looked down the road toward her house, barely visible far away, a faint shape swallowed by night. The light buzzed again. She had seconds. Claire inhaled sharply, bracing herself. I can't stay here. The bulb dimmed. She ran. Everything that followed felt like a blur of terror and instinct. The darkness behind her erupted with sound, the clicking, the whispering, the scraping of something fast and inhuman closing in. Cold fingers brushed the back of her coat, pulling, reaching. She screamed and pushed harder. Just as she felt the darkness swallow her, a porch light flicked on ahead, her neighbor's house. Then another, and another. A chain reaction of light breaking through the shadows. Claire dove onto her porch, slamming into the door. She fumbled with the key, tears blurring her vision. The darkness clawed at her heels, stretching like a living thing. The door burst open and she stumbled inside, slamming it shut just as something hit the other side with a deafening thud. Her house lights flickered once, twice, then steadied. Slowly, Claire slid to the floor, shaking uncontrollably. Outside, everything went silent. She had escaped, but as she stared at the window, she noticed the street in the distance. All the lights were out, except one. The last light on Elm Street. Still burning. Still waiting. As if it knew she would have to walk past it again someday. And the darkness would be waiting, too.